How y'all doing? Once again, it's Charles coming with you, and I know you've heard about it. Bitcoin is just skyrocketing up the charts right now, but many people are saying, "Well, what is Bitcoin? What is this? What's going on?" I've been getting lots of questions about it. So today, I just want to go over what's Bitcoin, what's cryptocurrency, and what's blockchain. So essentially, Bitcoin is a form of digital currency that you can exchange with people from peer to peer, similar to like how music was with Kazaa or with LimeWire. Um, cryptocurrencies, cryptocurrency are these types of digital currencies, such as Bitcoin. There's over 1,200 of them. Bitcoin was just the first one that was introduced back in 2008, but there's multiple cryptocurrencies that are being used right now. And the technology that's driving these cryptocurrencies is called blockchain. And essentially, blockchain acts like an accountant, where it essentially keeps track of all the different transactions and balances for each individual cryptocurrency. So now I'll go in depth behind each one of these. First, Bitcoin was introduced to the world in 2008. It was essentially designed to be a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, similar to like LimeWire or Kazaa was for music. There's no central bank to these electronic cash systems. Just like for Kazaa or for LimeWire, there was no music store. You just downloaded it from somebody else. It's peer to peer. It just goes from one person to another to another. Is essentially they're doing that with these digital currencies or these cryptocurrencies. Now, similar to like Kazaa or LimeWire, there's problems that occur with this, such as viruses and scammers, because it's unregulated. China's actually banned Bitcoin because there's just no regulation. It's hard to keep track of what's going on. Um, and so you want to be careful before you just hop into an investment that you don't do your research on because there's lots of loopholes in there. Um, the reason why Bitcoin didn't take off immediately was because it was associated with illegal activity. I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Dope. That came out in about around 2015, 2016, and essentially it was about a boy who he came up on a bunch of drugs and had to sell his drugs, and he used Bitcoin because it was untraceable. Governments don't like untraceable transactions, and so they're actually in the process now of getting some of these transactions from some of the platforms such as Coinbase that have been performing these transactions for people. So the IRS is aware of what's going on with Bitcoin, and they're checking it out now. Um, but essentially, Bitcoin has changed from just a peer-to-peer type of system to an actual currency that's being used worldwide, but it's deregulated because it's not necessarily driven by a government, which that's why people are so skeptical of what's going to happen in the future. But just letting you guys know what it is. Um, so the cryptocurrencies, they are unregulated, but there is a technology called blockchain, which is keeping track of those individual transactions for individual cryptocurrency. So essentially, if you have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, um, there's a blockchain that's going to keep track of all the transactions that I'm using with other people. And that technology is one of the things I'm looking into now, because it can be used more than just for banking. It can be used for manufacturing and transportation industries. Matter of fact, Bank of America, the bank, has applied for 18 patents in this type of technology. So it's not necessarily just about the individual coins, because it's hard to judge which coin is going to be the most successful. I mean, that's who I'm not sure. Nobody really knows what the future holds. We're not sure if governments are going to accept it or what's going to happen. But the actual technology behind the decentralization of the transactions, I mean, that's pretty big. So that's what I'm looking at. And actually, matter of fact, in 2015, if you had bought one Bitcoin for about $350, you'd be looking at about over $10,000 right now for one Bitcoin. So the dollar values are skyrocketing, but we're not necessarily sure what the future holds. If all the governments essentially say, okay, let's get rid of this now, and what are they going to be able to do about it? Are they going to be able to shut it down? Are they not going to be able to shut it down? Who knows? Is this going to actually change everything? But the technology, the blockchain, is what I'm most interested in. And some other people are saying, well, how do I know which coins to invest in? Bitcoin went from, like I said, the end of 2015 from 350 to 10,500, and it's changing every day. Ethereum that's gone up as well. Litecoin's been going up. How do I keep track of all these things? Because that's not something that we use every day. There's an app called FollowCoin that's essentially looking at all the investors, what they're investing in, and you would choose an investor that's you know that's investing in a certain coin, and you can actually mock them. You can imitate exactly what they're doing in real time. So essentially, on the stock market, you know, if everything is in real time, but it's really not. So, for instance, in New York, um, if somebody says, we're going to buy this amount of stock, a lot of times they get the notification before we would get the notification. And if I'm not looking at the computer at that exact time, I may be delayed, 5 or 6 minutes, and that time, things can change drastically. Stocks can go up, stocks can go down. But what that follow coin allows you to do, it allows you to actually, imitate investors at the same exact time that they're doing it. So you don't necessarily need to be at your computer. And so these are just different technologies, different changes that we're going through. That if you're working your job, chances are eventually you'll be hearing about this. I'm just trying to get you familiar with it now. So ask about it. If you're at the workforce, this is something you might want to talk to people about. This is social currency that's going on right now. I know social currency with digital currency, but it allows you to actually be able to talk about something and ask about this. Because if we would have known, in 2015 that we could turn $250 or $350 into over 10,000, 0.5 doing, just by buying one share of stock, then we probably would have done that. So just looking out for you guys. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'm researching this now. I'm actually about to be studying it even more the next 3 days. So just pay attention, ask me questions, and we'll see you soon.